The Underdog Podcast. It's your host T. Lee and my co-host Jack Cowden will be live today as usual.
Was pulling up, they acting like they couldn't see me. Now she wanna clean me up like a squeegee. I told her that's on me, baby, like yellow BZ. With the peanut butter tear like a Reese.
Keep on persevere through all the obstacles. Get it done. That's an underdog.
They don't forget the underdog when they see me. I hit them with the John Cena, they can see me.
You may overlook this person, but the underdog is the one who's gonna put in the work.
It's over, you know? Because you have to lose to win. Whether you think losing is a big event.
All I'm saying, just be careful who you idolize. I'm kicking these scriptures just before the fame. Ain't no cap in my words, I go against the grain.
So I always believe in, like, I took so many risks to make this thing happen. You know what I mean?
I'm always working, bro. Like, I just, like I said, I'm energy driven. Underdog can put you on your ass. The underdog can put you on game. The underdog can show you something that you didn't know.
Can't go down. All you can do is go up. So are you gonna stay where you at, or you gonna move up?
Feel the things, feel the things.
He said he's nervous. This is his first time doing it.
Cut her ass off if she get that, I can reread.
Yo, what's good, people? It's your host T. Lee from the Underdogs Podcast. We got to get it in today. We gave y'all an episode yesterday, me and my co-host. Y'all seen Dog Talk. But today, this is season 2, episode 21, dedicated, featuring Chicago's own KrissyTheAuthor. About to bring in right now, you know, but hope everybody doing good on this Sunday. Everybody back home in Florida, everything looking good, you know what I mean? But, yo, man, we're finna bring in right now, Southside Chicago. Oh, I can't hear you. Nah. Let me see. Let me see. Have a little tech difficulties, y'all, real quick. Let me see what's going on. Try your mic settings on your if you're on your laptop. See if it's on. You should see some settings on your end. It got you muted. Okay. Let me see. Can't unmute if mic isn't connected. Yo, we got Chicago in the building. Everybody out there right now watching. Appreciate y'all. It say your mic muted. Okay. I can't hear you. Hold on. Let me see something. Let me see. Hold on real quick. Hold on. Have a little tech difficulties, people, with the audio and everything of that nature. But yeah, man, hope y'all getting ready for the top of the week, man. Top of the week, the grind on stop, no days off. You know what I mean? We gotta get it how you live out here. Just make sure at the end of the week that you done elevated in some type of way, spiritually, you know what I mean, physically. Make sure you taking care of y'all bodies out there, man. Watching what you eat and things of that nature. Yeah, we got a brief intermission right now. So while we doing this intermission, let me drop some on y'all real quick. Little commercial break. We get the guests back in, you know. Now I say she an author from Southside Chicago, Illinois. Has published 2 books out right now. I'm gonna get y'all a clip from one of the podcasts I like to watch, man. The Home Team. Shout out to Papa Duck. Let's see right up. There we go.
Can you actually create high quality live streams for free?
Yo, hit the number on the bottom of this post that start fixing your credit today so that we can show you how to start your own
Shout out to
business.
Papa Duck.
You can have the same attitude like homie right here.
Hey, I will never be a good employee. You know why? I don't got the characteristics of a good employee. Good employees kiss ass and carry news. And I have them characteristics there. So to all those good employees out there, you go, dude.
Hey, that's real. I tell you all the time. Hit the number on the bottom of this post, man. Let's start fixing your credit. Where you can have your own business. Like, why would you work for somebody the rest of your life?
Can you hear me?
Build an empire. Use the bank's money. This is the main reason why you would want to build your credit, not to go buy shirts and shoes and stuff that depreciates. That don't make no sense. Build your credit, get your business credit going. Let us teach you how to do trade lines. Let us teach you how to walk in them banks and get the money that you want to start the business that you want. Stop being an employee, man. Stop thinking like an employee. And there's nothing wrong with working. But I do have an issue with people working for 40 years for bosses that they'll never meet. Be the boss.
Yeah, that's real spill, man. Shout out to Papa Duck. But all right, let me rewind a little bit. Let me bring the guests back in the proper way. Like I say, this is Southside Chicago's own Krissy the author in the building with us. What's going on, Quinn?
What's up? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we clear. I can hear everything.
Okay. We had a lot of technical difficulties. I'm sorry about that.
Oh yeah, nah, we good. We're gonna get it going though. But like I say, we appreciate you taking time out your schedule to kick it with the underdogs. Like I say, we got another exclusive for the people today. You know what I'm saying? As we always push the importance of knowing ourselves, with like the people in 30 seconds, like what would you like to share, like for the people, like who is Kristen as a person outside of your, profession?
Previously I was a person that was pretty shy, but I would say I'm a person that loves to help my people. Even outside of me being an author, I am a social worker. So I'm always trying to give back to my community. So if I had to describe myself, I would just say I'm a helper. I'm a peacemaker. I'm really a person that wants to give back. If there's any way that I can help in any type of way, if I can give back to my community and put everybody on, I'm gonna do that.
Nah, most definitely. Nah, I respect that because that's, exactly what it's going to take for everybody out here, especially with our people, like, and everybody understand it's not breaking the links, it's chaining the links back together, and right now, a lot of our situations, we come from broken situations. So
exactly.
It's about us just putting these links back together. So for those who don't, let me say, a native of Chicago, Illinois, aka Windy City, growing up in Southside Chicago, what was it like for you coming up though?
It was rough. Now I want to say that I left Chicago when I was 15. So I started my teenage years there, but after that I ended up moving to Las Vegas. So both of those cities did influence me.
Okay.
But growing up in Chicago, I loved it. Honestly, I know that Chicago is seen in the light as very negative, that it's all about violence and stuff. But I always encourage anybody to go there for yourself, because Chicago has a lot more to offer than just vlog and all of that stuff. And yeah, it's all in the media, but it has a lot more to offer. So I loved it growing up. It's a lot of culture there.
Mhm. Nah, for real though, because that's the first thing you hear, especially when Chief Keef broke the barriers. I remember like when that happened, I was like, yeah, it was turned up. Chicago was lit. I mean, you had Kanye and Common and all that, but when that happened, it was like it was a whole new shift in like hip hop. But
But I
so
love me
Las
some Chief
Vegas
Keef
too.
too,
Talk
though.
about that. Like, how did the Vegas? Nah, most definitely. People don't be giving them the flowers, but
Yeah, I
nah,
seen
with
that
Las
debate.
Vegas too. Like, what was that like? What was that
Hot.
like for you to go from Chicago way to Las Vegas? Like that transition. I know it's a culture shock too a little bit.
For me, it was definitely a culture shock. I feel that they wasn't as friendly, and I know people will say Chicago people ain't friendly, but I feel like you meet us, you walk up to somebody on the street, you can have a whole conversation with them like you've known them for years. In Vegas,
Right.
it wasn't like that. But I'm not gonna discredit them because the Vegas did help make me into who I am today. Um, I met a lot of amazing people out there. I published my first book out there. Um, a black woman gave me my first opportunity to be featured in her bookstore as well. So I will give Vegas a lot of credit as well as Chicago. Now Chicago helped stem my stories, help me create my stories because a lot of the situations that I write about is stuff that I witnessed or experienced in Chicago.
Yeah, most definitely. Um, so like for those who don't know about, because it's split between Chicago is like more of your upbringing, as your youth, but then you start off in your teenage years in Vegas. So like coming up in Chicago, for those don't know about Chicago like that, or one day might want to visit, like what are some of your go-to spots, as you were young that you always, that you would recommend to other people, to check out, some of the go-to.
Well, I definitely think anybody needs to experience the Sears Tower. I think they changed the name actually. They call it the Willis Tower, I believe. However, um, when I grew up, it was a Sears Tower, so I'm gonna stick with that name. I definitely think that everyone should experience overlooking the city when they tilt you over. I also highly
Ooh.
recommend experiencing going going on a cruise. At the lake. So me personally, I've been on the Spirit of Chicago. If you ever want to experience a cruise, drive around and view the city, downtown Chicago, it's beautiful. Buckingham Fountain, especially in the summertime, the lights, it's amazing. Those are monuments for us and anybody, if you want it for any type of reason, you need to visit those places for me.
Most
And
definitely.
definitely not, let's not forget the food.
Oh
Everybody know
yeah,
that already
nah,
though. You
yeah.
gotta go
Talk
to
about.
Harold's.
I was about to say you got to put that out there because it be so much. Folk don't be putting a real about how certain foods, you know what I'm saying? It's different. It's
Chicago
different,
got the best food.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
They try to duplicate it, like say in Atlanta or other areas, but it don't. They say nah, it don't hit the same. You got to
It
really
don't
go
hit
there
the
and
same.
experience.
And them prices don't hit the same because Atlanta know they got a line for the Harold's for the
Yeah.
prices of the food. But I'm definitely gonna say you need to go experience and get you a hoagie from home. Go to Sharks. Go to JJ's is here, but really you need to
Mhm.
experience Harold's at home. Harold's and Sharks.
Yeah.
Definitely the food. And then you want to get our snacks. We got the Vidner snacks, the hot country curls, the the penny candy and stuff. You definitely need to go to the candy store on 71st. So those are some places you definitely need to go.
Yeah, make sure y'all take those notes, man. You know what I mean? For real. You heard it right here. But I heard you mention about tilting over the city. I seen pictures and stuff of that. Like, I don't know, it's like the heights thing, but then I'm more of a person that's a thrill seeker. So it's like I do it just to have my adrenaline rushing, just to get that feeling. Like, because the way they show it, it make it feel like you just like you about to fall off pretty much or
They
something like
do.
that. That's how it look. So nah,
You
I
definitely need
definitely
to
would
try
want to
that
try that.
though.
Yeah. So
I'm a little
um
scary though, so it took me a minute to do that.
but you did.
Yes, I did.
Oh yeah, so that's all it's about though. When it comes to facing your fears, you'd be like, man, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. You know what I'm saying? But what a lot of people feel tend to hold people back based on what they think before they even do it. And some people don't never try it, and it might not be as bad as they thought. You know what I'm saying? But so like, okay, so
That's
with
true.
Vegas too, like, what was between Vegas too? Like, what's some go to? Because I mean, when you go to Vegas, only thing I think about is the strip. That's the only thing I know. Like, I ain't been to Vegas yet. I've been to Cali, but Vegas is another one of my bucket lists. I gotta try it. But like, what it was like being a teenager coming up there, like, yo, the spots you like to hit up.
So growing up as a teenager there, it was a lot different. You know, in Chicago we had like the juke parties and stuff that we went to. We went to the
Mm,
rink or Markham. But in Vegas, they had like full teen nightclubs.
yeah.
So it was a shock for me, but it was fun. I would have to admit. Some places I would say definitely to go to. I would say you definitely need to go ATV riding out there. It's fun. Everybody knows the strip. It's not many things outside the strip
Mm,
because it's all a tourist attraction, but I would highly recommend not going in the summer because it's so hot,
right.
especially if you're not used to that 125-degree weather. So I would say since you're trying to go, definitely somewhere between September and May, maybe June. Those are the best times to go. Definitely don't go in July or August. Those are the hottest months.
No, most definitely. Like, I want to really get that experience up under my belt, though. I like being out there in the West Coast. Um, Hold on, real quick. I just seen my codes hit me up like, send me the link, bro. I thought this man wasn't nowhere to be found, but he'll join us in a minute. But
That's
so
fine. We all had some difficulties today. It's okay.
nah, most definitely. So Chicago, with that being said, like you said, is known to have a violent reputation with our people, as is
Hmm.
universal. Like in each and every plantation that would be considered the hood, across the country.
Hmm.
So for you to make it out of there and become successful, what would be your message to those that want to leave those type of environments, behind to better themselves?
The message I was saying is don't let your environment define who you are. I know people always say you're a product of your environment, but I would say to do the work. Do the work to become something different. You don't have to necessarily be a product of your environment and let that frame who you are. Now, definitely it influences who you are, but don't use because I grew up in the hood, I can only live this
Mm-hmm.
certain lifestyle. That's not true. And what I mean by doing the work is healing your inner self, healing your inner child, healing those traumas, especially with growing up in Chicago. A lot of people I grew up with suffered from PTSD because of all of the killing that does happen. But do the work to heal yourself. Go to therapy, especially for our Black men. Um, Therapy is much needed. And I would always encourage that, especially as a social worker as well. And the message I would just say is that you can always the sky is not the limit for you. You can go beyond that.
Nah, for
Always try.
real. I feel that because when you come up in these environments, a certain lifestyle, and it's like people don't know nothing besides like where they at in the environment they in. It's cool. You might go visit someone and stuff, but you got to really isolate yourself from that environment for a while. Like, you got to detox yourself, to really spend that time, in another environment, see how people move, to be like, man, life way more than this. It's more out here, traveling wise and stuff. Then you start to
I was
create
just
your
about to
own.
say that.
Yeah,
Travel.
you
That
start to
will show
create
you
your
that there's
own.
more out here.
Yeah, like, definitely, because I mean, it's definitely a situation where, you know it's how they call it, indoctrination wise or something like that, where they kind of program us to be like that, because a lot of us don't start off already established or with foundations and stuff like that. The only foundations we have is to know how to struggle to make it to the next day, not thinking ahead, like, oh, we ain't got too many people around us instilling that in us, or you know I mean, you could have some people that left and come back, but they don't get the same type of treatment as if, they get treated differently. It's like, oh, you too good, or you done made it, no, you too good, whatever, like for your people or whatever, like, it feels some type of way because you left, and
That's true. The reality is
yeah,
most
it shouldn't.
people they want you to do good, just not better than them. So it comes off as threatening
Right.
when they feel that you're doing well. And I even had a childhood friend who recently got killed, but he used to say that because we grew up in the hood and stuff, we grew up together a little bit in Chicago, and he would say, "I always knew I was gonna be this person in the streets and shit like that." Excuse my language, but that's all he
Nah,
knew.
you good. Do your
And
thing.
he was telling us that he was proud that me and a few other people that we grew up with actually went on to go into our careers and things like that. So what you're talking about, that mindset, it is something that's really hurting us because a lot of us are stuck in that mindset that we can't do better or that we can't
Mhm.
have the finer things in life and all we know is the hood.
Yeah. So with that, also this my partner, my co-host Sly, aka Jack Calder, right now. So
How you doing? How
What's
you
up?
doing?
I
I'm
thought
good. How
my
you
boy was
doing?
gonna make it.
I'm
But
good.
yeah,
I'm
this
good.
Chrissy the author, man. We is on this season 2,
Mm-hmm.
episode 21 right now, man. Dedicated. So with backpedaling on what you just said, so what was your support system like that helped you mold you, you know what I'm saying, to get to be who you are today?
I definitely give credit to my mother. My mother was very big on education. Now, I know I've talked to her about stuff like you can still have success without an education, like going to college. There are also the trades and entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
But she's always supportive in anything that I did. Even when I was a child, I can never say that she missed a game or something, any important game. She would try to make sure she's there. Um, Me publishing books, she's the first one to buy them. She's at every event, even if it failed at first. She always supported me, and I will never forget that. She always made me feel like I can do it. Even when I felt like, oh, I was like, I can't do this, mom, I'm shy or anything like that. She's like, you can, you just in your head, keep going and stuff like that. So I would definitely give a lot of credit to her. Um, Over the years, I would also give a lot of credit to my two best friends. They helped me through a lot because even just sitting on here, I used to be very, very shy. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say I'm still not shy, but I've came
Right.
out a lot more than I used to do. So I had a really
Hey,
strong support
shout,
system.
shout out to best friends too right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doing $100 right now. You know what I mean?
shout
Um,
out to them.
no, definitely. And shout out to my dudes
I was just gonna say
too,
that.
cause
Shout out to my
for
dudes, man.
yeah, for
Definitely.
everybody watching right now, man, as a parent, you know, right now it's like all the tangible things that ain't really nothing. You can give your kid all these material things out here, but a lot of us, all we ever needed was somebody to say, man, you can do it, keep going, or show the support. You know what I'm saying? That's really what come to our foundation, what we missing. Like, you know, just
Right.
be there, just feel like somebody there, cause a lot of us when we grew up, we was growing up outside. So a lot of our situations was
Hmm.
outside, you feel me? Like, you know, we ain't at home too much like that, you know, and then we got started mixing and finding out what's going on. That was our experiences. But really just having
Right.
somebody that's there, you know, in your corner, you know. And, I feel as a parent, that's the number one tool you really need. Just push your kids to be better. Giving them everything ain't gonna teach nothing. You know what I mean? So
That's
Real.
true.
just try to have some balance with it, you know. Um, so where did your inspiration come from coming up where you decided that, you know, one day you would publish your own novels?
Well, I'm gonna say the Bluefer series and also Johnny B. Jones. I always loved reading, so
Yeah.
for me, a lot of my time was spent going to libraries if I wasn't outside running the streets or something. I loved going to the library and reading books, and I always imagined myself in certain books that I could live that dream life. I always put myself into the books. It helped me to escape reality. Sometimes I did not have the best upbringing with stuff that happened in my life. So reading books was an escape for me. Um, and so as much as I read books, I kept thinking like I could create my own books and I could create the character that I want to be in my books or what I want to
Mhm.
happen or this person to rescue me and things like that. And that's actually how I got into writing books. I previously had wrote books as a teenager, but unfortunately they were destroyed by a family member. Um,
Oh,
but one of my best friends encouraged me to start again a few years back. So that's how I ended up publishing my first book.
No, most definitely. I like how you. I know it probably wasn't easy, for it happening like that, for the work that you put in, and now it's just destroyed. Like, so is it
Hmm.
like for
For
you to pick up
real.
all the pieces, have somebody in your corner, like, man, don't worry about it. Just put the puzzle back together, put all your art back together, and you're gonna make a masterpiece
Yeah.
again. Like,
Besides,
you,
besides, it probably made it go harder too. You know what I mean?
yeah, like you did
Yeah.
it all. You already
Yeah.
did it before. You can do it again. That's the type of push you need, because I
Yeah.
know it wasn't easy to see something that you built just crumble like that, And
Yeah. It wasn't. I stopped for a few years.
yeah, no, I definitely feel that. So, like, what is some of your favorite novels that you read over time from these authors that you would consider your top reads?
For me, I would say Tracy Brown. I really love all of her books, but my favorite one is called Black, and it really touched me as a teenager. So that was really one of the books that I always was like, "Oh, this is gonna be me." It helped me escape
Mhm.
reality. Um, Ashley Antoinette, I also love all of her books. One of my favorites was Moth to a Flame. She also is the one who wrote the Cartel series. I know that that series is pretty popular. Um, Sister Soldier as well. Definitely Sister
Yeah.
Soldier. I know a lot of people know Dakota's Winter Ever. That's one of her most famous books. But my personal favorite is the Porsche Santiago story. That's my favorite. So those are some authors that have influenced me over the years, outside of the Junie B. Jones series and the Bluefer series, reading The Gun, The Bully,
Mhm.
and going through a stage where I was in middle school, going into high school. Those situations really helped me as well.
Yeah, I remember them two authors'
Interesting.
names after you start naming some of the books. Definitely remember seeing them.
Hmm.
So what
Yeah.
about these authors' styles of writing that stood out to you for you to indulge more into their work?
Well, as far as Ashley Antoinette and Sister Soldier, I feel as though they wrote about real life situations that I could relate to. And I think that's what's most important. It's good to read about fantasy or things like that, but people want to read about real life situations that they can relate to or
Yeah.
see themselves in, things like that. So, for example, my first children's book that I wrote is called My
My
Visit with
visit with
Dad.
dad.
Yes. And it really detailed
Man.
the situation with um, children visiting their fathers, or not even just fathers, even mothers in prison or anything like that, and how that was a struggle. Because me personally, that was a struggle that I went through a lot growing up. My father was in prison, in and out of prison most of my life, so I felt that that was something that I should write about. And I say that because I felt like my brother and sister's dad was not in and out of prison, so I always felt like an outcast, that my dad was in and out of prison like that.
Interesting. I was gonna ask you what was your drive with creating this children book, but you already
Hmm.
answered that question. I, I was just looking at it. I was like, "Oh, that's dope." You wrote a children's book.
Hmm.
Also,
Mhm.
you got another book too as well. So you only have two books that's out currently.
I have three. So on
Three.
September 23rd, I just released my third book. It's called Burden of Proof. You
Mm,
guys can order that as well. Um, but those two, Burden of Proof and Broken Trust, are urban books. I do like to write about reality or stuff that we may see, or situations that are often swept under the rug, that I want to
mm-hmm.
bring light to. But from my standpoint, I definitely always want to write about stuff that sends a message, and it's just not about, as anybody would say, like hood shit. It
Right,
always has
right.
a message behind it.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah, that's real good. We need more authors like you. That's what's up.
Nah,
Seriously.
for real, for real. So like when you first started writing your stories, do you remember anyone specific that kept you more hungry, like to write more, where you knew you had to keep, the passion to keep going?
I would say my best friend. She always told me that I can make it, and a lot of times I wanted to give up. So I would definitely credit that to her, especially Well, both of them actually, because they always mention my names and rules in rooms that can assist me. They found different pop-up shops for me. They say, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is a black-owned bookstore. Reach out to her. You could get your books in there and things like that." So they always kept me thinking that, "Oh, hey, I can really make it." Especially my best friend Neek, she always say, "I know you're gonna be famous soon. I know I can see it. I know you're gonna be famous. You just got to keep going. You got to get out your head and stop thinking that nobody is watching, things like that." So I
Mhm.
would definitely credit it to Neek and Kiana,
She
Yeah,
manifesting over you for real.
yeah, and
and I appreciate it.
we need those type of people around us to keep us motivated, give us that energy to actually carry out what we dream of doing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's real dope.
So like, so when you're coming up with your stories, like how do you come up with your brainstorm, like your ideas, uh, to come up with your format when writing these books, like your storyline, the characters, stuff of that. Like how do you come up, come up with that stuff?
Honestly, they come out of nowhere. So I could just be going on in my day and something to happen, and I be like, this is a good storyline. So, for example, with my book Burden of Proof, this
Mm-hmm.
came about from me previously being in an abusive relationship, and a problem that I ran into was he was initially charged with a lot of bodily harm to me. However, when it was about to go to trial, the problem was the burden of proof. Like, I felt as if I was the suspect rather than the victim. So I try to bring light to situations that people often don't really talk about. Um, just like with the thing with my visit with dad, I see a lot of children that have parents, not just fathers, mothers that are in prison. It's just that when it's a mother, it's not necessarily talked about as much as if a father is in prison. But it's definitely mothers that are in prison, and
Right.
that situation came up a lot. So I decided to write a story about it. I look at the issues that's going on in the world today, or whatever I feel that is being overlooked or not, people don't really pay attention to. That's what I choose to write about. Um, just like a lot of people may have a story or anything about domestic violence, I chose something different. I
Yeah.
want to talk about how with domestic violence, it's really on the victim to prove that this happened to her, because a lot of domestic violence happens behind closed doors and many people will not know. So this leads to a lot of people not saying anything, because even if they do say anything, even in court, you still have the issue where there's no cameras around. How do we know this really happened?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that.
He say, she say.
Uh,
Yes,
like what's
exactly.
what's your message to women out there right now, just off your experiences, of going through like domestic, abuse relationships, like, because most of the time, like some women that be in them situations, they be just looking for love out it, or feel like confused about what love is, and they feel like it's
Yeah.
okay when it's really not. Like, you being, a black, queen and everything like that. Every melanated woman out there, what I'm saying? No woman really deserve that type of treatment. But a lot
Hmm.
of stuff stems from our childhoods and the ways we react to things too. But like, what's
Definitely.
the message to them?
My message to women is that definitely document and go to the police on the first time. Don't give a person the benefit of the doubt, because you're truly teaching them how to treat you. And I will also say, to avoid possibly even getting in those situations, is to go to therapy, because a lot of times it's childhood trauma that we haven't healed from, and we're thinking certain things that we've seen in our childhood are considered love, and it turns
Mm-hmm.
out it's not. So I would say definitely go to therapy and heal. It will help you in the when you're in the dating scene or anything like that. It'll help you to pick the right partner, and especially you don't want to come to someone as being a toxic person as well, because we're definitely not going to say that men are just the issue. Domestic violence goes both ways, and sometimes women are the toxic ones also. So I definitely encourage, go to therapy, heal before you enter into someone else's life and bring your past traumas onto them as well.
Yes,
Nah,
that is
definitely.
very important because a lot of people, men and women, we
Hmm.
tend to move forward to the next situation without even healing. And if we bring all that baggage
Mm-hmm.
to the next
Definitely.
person, hoping that this person heal us. You know what I mean? And it's like
Right.
that's not their job. It's our job to do that thing.
Then they
You're
be
not their
saying you
parent.
obligated. You
Right.
know what I mean? You obligated now. You
Yeah.
took me on. This is what you gotta go
Right.
through.
Right. And it's
I
like,
feel
oh,
like
if you love me, this is what you gotta accept all of me. It's like, no, you gotta heal, man. Let's be
Right. You
adults
definitely
about
got to compromise too. Yeah.
uh,
it. Right.
like I'd rather be in a situation where it's like, okay, well, if you come like that, well, let's try to at least let me know, no holding me in, and then be wondering why you having these type of outbursts
Right.
and tripping. Like, let's go get you some help. Like, that's the only thing I
Right.
can do because I don't know about what you done went through or whatever. So I'm gonna try to eat some help. Let's do
Yeah.
this. Stay on top of you about
Definitely.
all this type of stuff. But
Yeah, that's how a lot of people be toxic. You know what I mean? And,
Definitely.
and, and you got to think about it. Some people be addicted to that toxic stuff.
yeah,
They do.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
it's
like
like
And that
it's
that.
like
goes
But
to
the
show
high.
that they really have some problems.
yeah, it's man, you hitting that right on the head right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. Like think about that type of stuff. It's like, damn. Some people be like bored with situations because that person they with not toxic enough. You're not bringing me
Right.
drama, so let me stir up the pot and create some toxic in this relationship because I'm
And
addicted to it.
and that goes back to their childhood. A lot of people grew up in
Yeah.
like loud homes where it was a lot of arguing and fighting and things like that. So they associate
Yeah.
that with love, and they like, oh, if he's not hitting me, or if he's not snatching me up, or
Mm-hmm.
screaming at me like I'm threatening me and things like that, oh, he don't love me. That's when
Mm-hmm.
you need to go to therapy, because those are not indicators of love. You need to learn what love really is.
Yeah. And then some people they don't be used to being held accountable too for the things they
Ooh,
do.
that accountability is something else.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
And I
Yeah,
Yeah.
recently
be
learned that men and women have a hard time taking accountability.
yeah.
They do.
It's a two-parted thing because I mean, like you say,
Hmm.
domestic situations ain't just for a woman. A man get beat up too by a woman. If he's scared to just, like. But I mean, I think sometimes too it be crazy in a way because it's like dealing with something they ain't never had before. They ain't never had nobody treat them good and all, so they just gotta just wreck the whole situation because it's new to them. So they only know one way to respond to it. But
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's real though.
so So like during your journey of being an author, like having that drive to create, where there's some challenges along the road that may have made you lose the love at times of being focused, or like, where you had to regain focus on your passion.
Yes. So when I first started, I published my first book. I really thought that I would receive a lot of support, especially from those around me, like my family and friends. However, after I published the children's book pretty soon after my first urban book, but I
Right.
didn't receive a lot of support from my family and friends. And I'm not talking about if they even bought the book. I'm talking about something as simple as sharing it on
Yeah.
Facebook or anything like that, sharing it on Instagram, anything.
That's
Those are
free.
small things. And when I didn't get the support like that, it was discouraging. I was like, okay, maybe they don't think I'm good at it or anything like that. So it took me a while, which is why I'm just now publishing my third book almost 2 years later. So I would
Mhm.
say that is one of the reasons. But I had to learn that w- a lot of people started supporting me when I did, like, I started putting myself out there, going to pop-up shops. Strangers supported me, and it
Yeah.
was weird because when my family and friends seen strangers supporting me, that's when they supported, and it was hurtful. But that's when I knew that I had to do things for myself, because they're gonna do what they want to do anyway. And strangers truly will support you before your own family and friends. It's like they need to see other people supporting you
Support
before
you
they want
before,
to
yeah.
go for it with it.
Yeah, that kind of sucks though. You know what I mean? Because it's like, damn, why strangers gotta support me before you goddamn jump on
Right.
board. It's
You've been
crazy.
around, you've been watching you've been
Yeah,
watching me work hard and do all this stuff on it, been
yeah,
seeing me do all this and. But
yeah.
I've been learning that early. Strangers, you ain't
Yeah,
gotta know nobody in the room. You know what I mean? Shout out to matter of fact, shout out because last Sunday the event 94 Film had that we attended.
Yes,
Yeah, it
and
was
that's
a
how we met.
bunch of strangers in the room, networking. I was opportunities, man. Just walk up and present yourself, and and just move from there. Networking, each one teach one. I always look at it like iron sharpen iron. So if you in this room, you gotta be doing something. While I'm in the passion, hey, come on. Cause I'm like, first thing I'm telling everybody, man, we gonna give y'all flowers, man. We a black owned podcast on the black owned network. Let's get it in. You feel me?
Right.
That's exactly what we doing today. We got KrissyTheAuthor in here and got a couple more coming on. You feel me?
Yeah.
But,
I got a personal question for you though, because
Mhm.
I want to know this because for years I've been, contemplating on writing myself a book. Like, and I'm a writer. I do a lot of writing. And my thing is like, what is the process of actually writing the book, and publishing it? Like, what is the process?
So the reality is the hardest part of publishing a book is writing it, because a lot of people can say that they're going to write a book. I hear that all the time. I'm about to write a book. Can you help me? Things like that. That's the hardest part. Publishing is pretty much the easier part, especially because in this day and age, they made it more easier. You don't have to necessarily go through a publishing company to publish your book. You can
Amazon.
self-publish now. You can put it on Amazon. Not even Amazon. You can also do Barnes and Noble as well, or you can even there's a site called BookBaby. They allow you to get the books printed through them. You can sell them on your own website, things like that. So it's a lot more easier now. So I would say once you write the story, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to go through a self-publishing, if you want to self-publish or go through a publishing company, you will need to write a query letter basically and send them the first few chapters of your book, and they decide if they would like to move forward with it. Now that could be a little more difficult for people only because not every publishing company publishes every type of book, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So some people only do sci-fi stories or urban books or children's books or scientific things. It depends. So you have to do your research on that publishing company as well to see if they're not only if your book is a right fit for them. They make the decision whether they want to go forth with publishing you. Self-publishing is a lot easier. You know the crowd that you are trying to reach, whether that be in children's books or urban books, anything like that. You create that yourself with your audience. And social media, TikTok and Instagram plays a huge part in your success now. To be honest, everything is moving through social media now. It's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Right.
So it helps.
Damn. Thanks for the insight.
Find you a little.
Yeah.
Find you a person on them social media that's popping and stuff, because it's like the time we come from, bro. It's like, yeah, we grew into it, but I be still kind of backing up off it a little bit because I'm like, bro, it's going too deep now. Like, but then it's like I still need to use it. Like I'm getting to the point where it's like I don't know, because it's like we was around when it first was going on, bro, and it's getting deeper now, and I'm so in and out of touch with it. You can't be out of touch with it too long, and now you like, man, let me call my little nephew, man. This man know how to get it moving.
And that's the truth. When TikTok came out, I was intimidated. TikTok seemed hard to do. Now I be on it a little bit now. I got a little something going on, but it was hard for me. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get with the TikTok movement. And not only that, I think that's one of my downfalls now, if I'm being honest. I don't make my presence known enough on social media, and social media is credited for a lot of people that have recently made it, influencers, things like that, social media. So I do know I need to be more active on there, but it's a little difficult when you have a life outside of social media. That's a full-time job.
Then it's like once you kind of get comfortable on one, it's another one came out. Nah, it's like like man, we had MySpace for years, but I was able to work my move on the music side. We did our thing, and then boom, Facebook dropped. All right, okay, it ain't too hard to transition for real.
Right.
And you got hit with like a 3-piece, like TikTok, Gram, all that stuff came out, man.
Yeah. Do anybody really be on Snapchat again? Like what happened to Snapchat?
Yeah, that too.
I still got a Snapchat. I don't know if I really I don't really post, but
Snapchat Snapchat ain't really like, it's different than, you know, Instagram and Twitter and
It's not
all
hitting
that.
the
Yeah,
same
Twitter
now.
too. Like,
Nah, it don't hit the same. Since TikTok came out, Snapchat don't really hit the
yeah,
same like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And you
But since
mentioned Twitter. I got a Twitter. I
Yeah,
never tweet.
Twitter used to be bumping.
but
Yeah, I
I ain't
remember.
been
Yeah.
on Twitter since 2010. But
But
See,
it's still beneficial. It's just all how you going
yeah.
about it, you know. So
it is.
So
man, I'm sitting here thinking about that when you say writing a book, bro. I'm like, bro, we might have to partner up and write a
man,
little.
I'm telling you, bro.
Bro, we got
Since
some
we talking about
stories, bro. We can make it like,
bro.
it ain't gotta be like an autobiography. Like, we can mix both our lives in one, bro. Up to
Man,
we
I'm
meet
telling
up
you.
tight time, bro. And
And I
just
always
keep the
encourage
character
people of
going.
that.
Yeah.
I'm like, people want
Man.
to hear those stories. Those are stories, those real life situations. That's what they want to hear about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Since we discussing books, right? So
Mhm.
Chrissy, you said your books are now available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, right?
Correct.
When I be purchasing a lot of my books, I read a lot too. But
Mhm.
when I purchase a lot of my books, I now go to this website. It's called Cultural Bond Bookstore. It's a black-owned bookstore,
Okay.
and you can actually go online and purchase all type of black authors, books. And I
Mhm.
like to support, black-owned bookstore and the black authors, and they got everybody up there. And I was just bringing that up because I think you should look into them too as well to have your book on there.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
I've never heard of them, but I will look into it. You definitely got to
Yeah,
send that to me when we
yeah. I'm
finish this.
gonna send it to your DM right now. They dope,
Okay. Thank you for that.
no doubt.
Mhm. That's what it's about, man. You got to bring all this together. So I would say, like, so for upcoming authors, you kind of explain most of it. You know what I'm saying? For people that want to publish books, but like, yeah, they don't know where to start. So like, what are some things about the business you learned, the business side of selling these books? Like, what are some tips?
I would definitely recommend hiring an editor. Every author needs an editor. Definitely don't try to edit the book yourself because a lot of times if you're still doing it over and over, when you're constantly editing your story, you'll always find something that you feel needs to be changed.
Yeah,
So, with that being said, an editor is an unbiased party that can read over it. They can act as if the reader, and they'll notice things that you don't notice. They'll notice if the story doesn't make sense or there's a lot of grammatical errors, things like that. I would highly recommend anyone getting an editor. And you can find editors a lot online. You can Google editors. I
Freelance
know
work?
yes,
Yeah, okay.
definitely check their credentials, but they are very beneficial for you. And I will also recommend, me personally, I have a book edited a minimum of 3 times because I want, and then I usually use between 2 or 3 different editors. And the reason for this is because when you're reading things, it's easy for one editor to maybe overlook something. That next
Mhm.
editor, they're going to catch that. And
right.
I say this is really important because before I published my first book, I did a lot of research on Amazon under the urban books category, reading the reviews on people on different people's books. And a lot of people's like, it's a good storyline, but I couldn't get into it because there were so many grammatical errors, things like that. That is a turnoff, and that will cause people not to support you because if they can't read through it without having to pause to try to understand what's going
Right.
on because there's a lot of errors, that will cause your sales to go down. So the editing process is really important. A lot of people want to create the book and they go straight into publishing. Please, please do not forget that editing process. And again, for me, I would say a minimum of having your book edited 3 times because there's always something that an editor is finding, even if they overlooked it the first time. And me personally, I would also have a minimum of 2 editors. This can also be just in case your first editor is not available or they missed something, that second editor is going to catch it for you.
No, I
Yeah,
feel that.
and that's what I was thinking with like when I write my book, like the editing part, like because I know I'm gonna overlook some shit. Like me personally, like I'm like, man, fuck it, just let that bitch fly.
So I believe it's called Fiverr.
Yeah,
It's a
Fiverr got
freelance.
freelance.
They got a lot of
Oh,
freelance services on there.
Yeah.
You can check their credentials. And also, just to cover yourself, when you're sending someone your manuscript, make sure they send it, they're signing that NDA, that
NDA.
non-disclosure
Mm-hmm.
agreement, that they're not releasing your information to someone else or trying to steal your
That part.
storyline, because
That's
those
smart.
things happen. We definitely want to think that everyone is good people in the world and they're not trying to be out for themselves. But sometimes you may cross paths with someone who's only looking out for themselves. So
Yeah.
definitely protect
Hey,
yourself as well.
you mess around and on Fiverr and your book gonna be published over in Saudi Arabia and over there in Pakistan in their language. You're gonna be like, man, what?
Yeah. So definitely protect yourself as well.
So you've written and published the Broken Trust novel, My Visit with Dad novel. Give the people a brief summary. You know how you read the back of the book to know what's going on. You feel me? Like give the people a quick summary of these novels as well as where they can go purchase them too.
Okay, so we briefly touched on My Visit with Dad. It's about children detailing their visiting their father while in prison. And it also ends with the message about what we also touched on, that you don't have to be a product of your environment or follow the same path because your parents went down that path. Also, Broken Trust was about a little girl who grew up in the hood. And she basically fell to the streets because she grew up with an alcoholic father. And she thought that the streets loved her, realized they didn't, and it follows her on her path as well. Definitely not going to tell y'all everything that happened in the story, but definitely read
Nah,
that.
they gotta go get that. They gotta get
Yeah,
that.
for real.
And
This like you know how you preview something before you buy it, like it cut off right there. You gotta go get the book now.
Yeah.
You feel me?
right. And then, my third book that recently just released, I would say a week ago now, Burden of
Mhm.
Proof, and
22nd.
yeah, 23rd,
Oh,
and that one was detailing a murder and going on how you have to prove yourself, even if you were the victim of anything like that, how the roles can change because it's really put on you to, as the burden of proof, to prove that it did happen. If it comes to any type of domestic violence, or it doesn't always have to be domestic violence, it could be anything with a family member, your side of the story, and it talks about that he say, she say, going back
Yeah.
and forth in the court of law. And not even just with any violence like that. It's about just with in our culture, a lot of black men and women are in prison, and how it's on them to prove that something didn't happen. We see this all the time. A lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm innocent," but
Mhm.
the burden of proof is on them to prove that they didn't do something. So it just
yeah.
details that. All of those books can be found on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. I also sell them directly via mail as well, or local delivery and pickup in Atlanta as well.
That's cool.
Nah, for real. I like how you
And
said
and
that.
and that's the only reason why Johnny Depp was able to beat his case, because he had proof that Amber Heard was actually, doing what she was doing to him.
It's important. It's important.
Seriously.
And that's why I was kind of mad. I heard that, Apple released that new update where you can erase text messages and stuff. I'm like, I don't know how I
Whoa.
feel about
It's
that.
in
I'm
it's
like,
in the
sometimes
database
you need
somewhere
that.
though. Regardless,
Yeah,
it's
for
backed up.
real.
It's backed up
Okay.
for the
It's
feds
in
and
the
everybody
cloud
else. Once
somewhere.
you once you sign them terms and conditions, bro, all your conversations is everywhere right now. It ain't
Yeah.
you
It's
know
in the
you don't.
Yeah.
cloud.
Everybody don't read the term and condition. You just hey swipe. I done had an iPhone since iPhone 4. It's the same thing. All right. And they'll put an update on everything now, man.
You right. You right. Because I don't read my terms and conditions either. And
It's so
it
Nobody,
damn
sounds wrong
long.
with me.
boy, let me get to it. This long ass damn
Yeah. It's
installation
long
and
as fuck.
install. Let me get to it. Not knowing that I might be signing my damn
Signing my
videos and
life over.
everything over. China got
Hmm.
my information.
Photos. That's why I personally never signed up for TikTok, because I actually read into the terms on there, and China can actually get your
Yeah,
likeness if they
yeah.
want to. They can use it because you sign accept on the terms for TikTok. I'm like, oh fuck that, I ain't
Now,
know.
where was
TikTok
you
is
at
one of
before
the.
I made a TikTok?
It is
I'm
one of
just
their
See?
apps though. It is one of their
yeah,
apps though. I forgot it is one of
yeah,
their apps. But
yeah. They
it's
have.
crazy. I learned is China the information that they get. Like say when you be scrolling, you be like, man, why this video popping up? Or it was somebody unseen or something like that. Bro, China blocks out and filters for their children, right? But when it comes to the United States, they purposely put certain things on there, bro, for people to see in the
we get the
state.
messed up
Wow.
algorithm. Yeah, we get the messed up algorithms over here.
But over there in China, they got the clean algorithms. Can't no kids see all that stuff and everything. But over here, they know they purposely promoting that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Our kids and the algorithms be messed up.
So, and all the kids be on TikTok.
That goes back to what you said earlier, how they purposely feed certain things to our community.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
All that programming.
Oh yeah, I would like how you say with the burden of proof that's really how it be though, man. It's like you get in court, bro. You know how many people probably fighting a shoplifting charge with a life sentence, bro. And it's like they know they ain't did it
for real.
Like man, it's like that. But,
it is.
So yeah, let's talk about this upcoming event too. You got for the burden of proof. You know, I did peep that too. You got an event coming up. Let's talk about all these events and everything you want to share with the people.
Yeah. So I ran into a concern. So I'm in the process of trying to find a new venue. So if you guys know a venue, I'm definitely all ears for that. But what I was having was a book release party. It was going to include panel discussions about the book as well, and bring up some really important topics that came up in the story, especially one that we just went over now with having the burden of proof to be able to prove something did or did not happen. We were also going to have wine. You know, I love wine, so it's always included. And definitely, it's gonna be a book signing. You can come meet the author, have a conversation with me, ask these questions as well. How can they get started on that? Because again, I'm always open to helping anyone. So I'm open to answering those questions if anyone needs help with formatting a story, writing a story, anything like that. I do offer those services as well. And just signing books as well. You can purchase the book from me directly at the event as well.
I'm so glad you're doing this because as we was talking like 20 minutes ago, I was thinking in my head, you should do something like this, and you actually doing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got to do that. That's real dope.
I always thinking of ways how I can give back or help others.
Yeah.
You can't support me, you can't get the free game. You know what I'm saying? A lot of folk not gonna do that. They gonna just, you know, expect it go hand in hand. Like anybody in a certain position, everybody ain't gonna go the extra step. You know, they should be like, well, you just bought a ticket, you bought my book. Well, I'm gonna come sign it, and whatever else you ask me, I'm on to my next book signing. Like I'm not here for that. But to be like, I like the engagement. That's me too all the way. Like I like to engage with folk. I like to support my people. You feel me? So it's like I'm a roll hand with everybody in the room. I'm gonna try to, you know, do something where I can engage myself. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be at the end of the day, you're gonna need people to support what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just be like, you're gonna have the same. That's why I look at like, don't feel like you bigger than nobody else, because it's like it's people that get you to the next level. It's people that support you that's gonna get you to the next room. Like you can't do it by yourself. You can't do nothing by yourself, even when you like. You need a team. You feel me? Everything can't be done. You can, but it's gonna be exhausting to try to do everything just solo. You know what I mean? You got, especially when you blowing up and you getting bigger, it's gonna be more things and responsibilities to take on. So you know,
life is about
I ain't saying it ain't impossible, but it's gonna take a lot more work than when you got somebody that's like, all right, bro, you got this position, I got this position, and they probably got this position. We all collaboratively come together. You're gonna get that way more faster than just single-handedly. You know,
networking is important, and I'm also a firm believer that not everything needs to be monetized. I know everybody is looking to create something that turns into a quick buck for them, but collectively, if we help each other, we can all get on. So I'm always up for a little free sauce for anybody who need it, if it's gonna help us all elevate in the end.
I read this post. It said, "Wine is only for grown women that's on their shit." But women that's not on their shit should only drink Bud Light.
I do see that.
Well, I do like wine. So
let's say y'all strong as need a bush.
Yo,
that's the one.
I just had to say that because oh man, that shit was so funny.
That's the art of confusion. What you drinking wine for?
Yeah, yeah,
You ain't on point.
yeah,
That part.
yes. I want to talk about Coco Body Collective. I see you a brand
Yeah, the
ambassador for that.
ambassador. We're gonna talk about them too,
Yes.
yeah, and the minks. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
See, I got some on now.
We're gonna
Okay,
talk
yeah.
that right
so
now.
Coco Body Collective, it's an abundance of things. So she does like body cavitation, wood therapy, things like that. So for me, I do work out and things like that, but I also had 3 kids, so my skin is a little loose on my stomach. And what she helps with is skin tightening. She helps with assisting when you're already working out, assist with removing the back fat, any things like that. So I am her brand ambassador. Not only that, she also offers slimming cream. So I do use her slimming cream when I'm about to work out. I rub it on my stomach, and then I put on my waist trainer or my sweat wrap. It helps me to sweat more and burn more fat. Um, a few other things. I'm also her brand ambassador for hair. So I don't know if y'all actually put
Yeah.
her hairstyle on the picture. The natural curl set. She did that as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So she does hair as well. Her actual shop is called Alpha Avenue Beauty. The body portion of it is Coco Body Collective, but I am the brand ambassador for both. Um, she also sells workout gear. So some of the workout gear you may have seen me in, or I do have a few videos where I'm working out. I wear them as well. She does have resistance bands that she sells. They're pink, so they are for the ladies as well. They do come in 3 different sizes: small, medium, or large. And Mink Envy, love her as well. She sells lashes. She recently just ventured into eyeshadow palettes as well. But I love my lashes, especially 25 mm. You always catch me in those. Right now, I'm actually wearing some, and I believe I have on Monroe today. But I've been their brand ambassador since the beginning of the year, I believe. Mink Envy, I believe I've been their ambassador since around January or February. And for Coco Body Collective, I've been her brand ambassador since the summertime, I believe, sometime in June, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I have seen results, so I love them both. And more importantly, they're both Black-owned businesses. Coco Body Collective is she is based in Atlanta. She also has a hair salon in California as well. I know you mentioned earlier you've been to California.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so definitely, if you're out there, you can visit out there. But if you have a girl, anything like that, she is based. She has a shop in Atlanta as well, where she can offer those services, or even just buy her hair products or her workout gear, the resistance bands. She has the stomach compressing underwear as well, for lounging wear around the house. I will be modeling those soon, so you guys can see them.
All right.
She bonnets, all of that. So anything dealing with the body, hair, anything like that, she has that for your needs. You need your hair done, definitely. You have a family member, friend, anything you need their hair done, definitely reach out to her. And the lashes, she's based in Maryland, but she ships everywhere. So again, if you have a spouse, anything like that, or family, friends, mom, sister that are into lashes, you definitely can look into that as well. And use my code. My code is Chrissy. You do get money off when you use that code at checkout.
Something right. Y'all make sure y'all check
Yeah.
out Mink Envy for y'all eyelashes, and make sure y'all check out Coco Body Collective. You know what
Yep,
I mean?
ladies, make sure y'all do that.
Yeah.
That's an active lifestyle right there too. You feel me? You
And they
can't
Black
just go,
owned, Black female owned.
can't just
Something
go
right.
get no surgery and forget being active. You got to take care of your body too. You feel me? So, yeah, I mean, that's just a reminder. But can we expect another novel being published soon by Chrissy after the Bread and the Proof release?
Yes, so I'm actually in the middle of finishing the illustrations for a children's book that I have coming up with a nonprofit that's based in Iowa, I believe. It's called
So,
STEAM on Wheels. Is mostly I know they recently added STEAM, but it's STEM if you guys are interested in that as well. It's a
Mhm.
nonprofit agency that assists children, and it's geared towards helping a lot more children to go into those engineering careers,
Yeah.
especially minorities, because we all know that engineering, things like that, is mostly a male dominated field. And even past that, it's a white male dominated field. So the
Right.
story, I have partnered with them on creating a story that highlights the big bosses, things like that, in engineering, where it's Black children that are the bosses and women that are the bosses, things like that, to encourage other minorities and women to go into that field. That should be coming out hopefully by the end of this year as well. We finished the story. We're just working on some illustrations that we want to include as well. So definitely be on the lookout for that also.
Does coding fall up under that engineering too?
Yes, it
Like, you
does.
ever heard
I
about?
even touched on
Okay,
that in
okay.
the book.
Yeah, nah, I definitely, cause that's something I want to get my son on. Like when he get a lot, probably about 5, I'm gonna start him off with that. But I know with coding, that's everyday use things we use. When you hit a
Yeah,
It is.
command or something, a button or something, like whatever, like to tell
yeah.
it to do something that's coding. Like,
I don't know if you remember on MySpace, but you know we used to do
yeah, we
coding
was
on
Well,
doing
yeah,
MySpace.
that shit. We
Yeah.
was
definitely
doing
was.
that shit. Yeah,
What?
cutting my pay, money files
Yeah.
on that big music in the
Right. I
background.
had the music playing, everything. And then don't forget the top
Man.
7. Don't forget the
Oh
top 7.
man.
Yeah,
Had us ready to
Yo.
fight.
Still to this day, I think MySpace is the best social media
yeah.
platform. Like
It was
personally.
doing
I would
stuff
have to
without even
agree.
knowing. Yeah,
Yeah. I
they
I
let
think it
you
was
that's
be more
ahead of its
hands
time.
on.
Yeah, I think it should
Yeah.
come back around. I really think that it's ahead of it. It was ahead of its
Man, I
time
got smoked
because
with them.
For real, dog. We had so much stuff on MySpace, like, oh my
I got
goodness.
smoked with them. I ain't gonna
I
lie.
can't believe we was that young doing that coding and stuff to change the background
Yeah,
and all of that.
yeah.
That's what
We
I'm saying. Like we could do that. We can go into engineer as careers,
yes,
especially these Black children, because we
yes.
did that.
Mm-hmm.
It was
A
just
little
simple,
copy and
like,
paste, you feel me? But I was tweaking the
yeah.
codes, you know what I
I was
mean?
tweaking
Right.
like a mug, boy.
Nah,
Man,
word.
yeah. We got a little smoke with MySpace though, because we had like our
Yeah.
own little TV show going on MySpace, and
We
it's
was
like,
doing it like right when like YouTube kind of before YouTube popped at the same time. We were content creators back then. It's just
So
yeah,
y'all been doing
real,
it. Okay.
real.
yeah.
It was real deal, life and everything.
Well, I wish
Yeah.
y'all all the best. I definitely can see this going far. This was amazing. It really was.
Oh yeah, we appreciate
Yeah,
you giving
God.
your time out. We just making it about the people. Our way of giving back. Using our platform, utilizing our platform to inform, inspire, motivate the people. Drop these gems. We done
Yeah,
get gems of invest money economically. We do stuff for health. My boy drop all these gems, spirituality, get everybody to be aligned. Stay on
yeah.
point. So yeah, that's what we about over
And
there.
now we got you, Miss Arthur over here. You giving people encouragement to become an author, write their first novel, and
First
publish
author
it.
too at that, and we done had
Yeah,
probably like 40 some people on here now. So you hear me?
I'm glad I'm the first. Okay, paving
yeah.
the way.
That's
On the
the
right.
Draco moment right there.
I
Set
was the
up.
first to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
For real.
Nah, we definitely appreciate it, man. You know how we do it, Slato, man. I'm gonna let my partner do it.
Yes. So when you hear the word underdog, what does that mean to you? Like, what is the
For
underdog?
for me, when I hear the word underdog, I think of the person that is often overlooked and that's not expected to make it. The person that in the beginning naturally does not have the resources, and people don't believe that they're going to go far. The person that's likely not the popular one, so they're often overlooked. That's the underdog to me, and that's the one
Mm,
that usually rises up and ends up becoming the famous one, the most successful one. And when I think of underdog, I often relate it to being the black sheep, because it's the person that is thrown away. Nobody's paying
yeah.
attention to them, they're discarded, things like that. But in the end, the underdog wins. I'm
God
gonna say
damn it.
that.
You already know.
Oh,
Definitely.
every
For
time.
real.
I like how she said that, like, you ain't got the resources. So when people look at you and be like, you know, oh, I only got a mic and a laptop, but I ain't got a whole studio. You feel me? But they look at it like, oh, he ain't got everything like this in this studio. You know what I mean? So he ain't gonna make it. But it turns out he done made him a little hit record. You know, and it's
that
like,
part.
you know,
It's all about the talent. It ain't about the resources you have because that'll come later.
Yeah.
That'll come later.
Yeah, for real though. I dig it. I
But
mean,
yeah, we appreciate you taking time out your schedule, guys. Let's keep flourishing, keep getting these novels put out. Don't stop. You know, it ain't no break. You just keep going. You know what I'm saying? Accelerate, keep accelerating far.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We definitely see more success coming from you, and we look forward to seeing more releases. You know what I mean?
I look forward to seeing more shows from you guys. I know y'all gonna blow up, and I can't wait to see it.
We are. For real.
And thank you guys so much for inviting me. It truly means a lot. And I wish you guys all the best and all the success.
Likewise.
Most definitely. And y'all had it, people. KrissyTheAuthor, Jack Cowden, Fleetwood Jr., man. This is the Underdogs Podcast, Season 2, Episode 21. Booked up till next year. We taking Sunday shows now, people. We don't want our people waiting. We giving flowers, you know what I mean? We on overload right now. So no days
Definitely.
off. Y'all continue doing what y'all doing out there, man. Don't stop. That's the whole thing. If you stop, that's the only way you can do it. For real.
Yeah.
Out of here, man. We finna hit the outro on y'all.
I say.
Right.
Oh.
Peace out.
Gold mouth rabbit on my teeth, I got carrots. Open up her mouth and she got vocals sound like Janet. Marble on the floors, but the kitchen kinda granite. Lean color perk, you would think it's pomegranate. I see flying saucers finna roll another planet. It will fall in place if it's meant to be organic. I got crazy lingo, you would think I'm speaking Spanish. I'm something like a pie, never leave without the cannon. I'm enlightened. I got stones around my neck. If you pay attention, I teach her how to earn respect. I walk around with a tag like I'm mad at the rail. People do any damn thing for a check. So what if you got signed labels, throw them on the shelf? I don't ask for help, I just go within myself. Hard times I prevail, I bust up out my shell. I let my nuts hang, cause it don't got no curfew. Gold mouth rabbit on my teeth, I got carrots. Open up her mouth and she got vocals sound like Janet. Marble on the floors, but the kitchen